Hello there, Eric Miskell with EMS Now on the show floor at IPC Apex in the Creative Electron booth, as you can see here. And it's my pleasure today to have Ross Berntson with us. He is the President and CEO of Indium Corporation.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thanks. It's great to be here, Eric.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun to be at the show, too.
It's been busy, right?
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
been really great. Seeing a lot of old friends and a lot of new young talent here, too, which is
that's
really
a
great,
good
too.
observation. I've noticed that, too. I think it's good to see because, you know, usually you go to the lunches and you see all gray hairs in years past, and that's blonding up, so to speak.
Yeah,
right?
I like that. That's
good. Before we get into more technical questions, let's talk about the company and you. Now, you were promoted into the CEO role just end of fall of last year.
Correct. Yeah.
So it's several months. You had already been the COO, so it was just an elevation there. So congratulations on that.
Thank you very much.
How's life changed as a result?
Well, you know, it's more work than I thought it would be. You know, I thought I had it all under control, but I've had a great partnership with Greg Evans, who's now our executive chairman.
Okay.
So he's well known in the industry, played a big role, SMTA, chair for a long time. And he's just an incredible guy. And he's done this, he's managed this so well, where he's handed responsibility to me over in kind of chunks.
Right.
And so this last kind of chunk of responsibility, but he's not gone anywhere. And so he's still there to be my advisor and help me talk through challenging issues. But what's really fun right now is just we've been on such a growth tear at Indium. And so to really formalize that into what's our growth plan going forward, while also making sure we maintain our culture. We just have we have an incredible culture. It's why we're successful. And if you read any books, you know that as you get bigger, it's harder to maintain those special elements of the culture.
Absolutely.
So we're working really hard on that.
And you're not new to the company. You've been there, what, 29 years, 28, 29 years, something? So you started and grew with the company, right?
Yeah, my first shows were, the old, I don't know if you remember the NEPCON West shows.
Do.
And running the tack line and all that back in 1996 and 97 and those early days.
That's funny because my first trade show ever was a NEPCON in this building. Right?
Okay,
that was, I think, 98, 99 or something. So.
Yes.
And I just remember my feet hurting after the first one. And people said,
Well, and because my roots are technology, I still play a major role in our technology roadmap and how we think about our future. But I also am always advised in interviews like this, I always go too technical, especially when I'm at a trade show, because I love talking about our technology.
Well, we'll get to that, but I want to talk about the company. It's been 91 years now, right? I mean, you just had an anniversary.
Yep, March 13th is our anniversary.
March 13th, there you go. So what has made Indium so successful? You talked about culture, but what is it?
So since our early days and our founding, we really have held on to this belief that material science changes the world. Every great advancement in really civilization has been accompanied by some kind of great material science innovation. And so you have that, and then you have this practice of from one engineer to another. We like to go to our customers and really engage with them with their actual products on their actual factory floors, in their labs, and then bring all that insight back to our R&D and engineering teams, our factories, our operations teams, and make sure we work on how we can bring something to the world that hasn't happened before. And that's gone all the way back since our early days, where Indium was a plating on sleeve bearings to improve the performance during World War II and in the early days of that effort. Well, and then all the way more recently in our really innovative product, which is this mixed powder technology, which we have some papers on here at the show that you can look up. And this idea of how do we make something that no one's ever thought of before to create brand new properties that enable new ways of assembling these devices.
And I appreciate what you say, that you're going out engaging with the industry. You're just not in the lab kind of tinkering and saying, look what I discovered, right? It's really kind of based on industry need and what's the development that's going on.
Yeah, we had a big theme at Indium for a strategy meeting just a little while ago where we said innovation in every department is what we need. And really working on that, not only in our obviously in R&D, you'd say, well, you're pushing the innovation, but even in how we build the products, which can enable new types of products sometimes, or how we engage even with our workforce development. And how do we be creative with that to bring on new talent and keep that engagement high? And then how do we empower everyone to do that innovation and do experimentation in their area of responsibility? So I think if we can capture that culture or that spirit of innovation in every department, it's the whole is greater than the parts.
Out of curiosity, are there at a university level, are there kind of hot spots for material sciences in the country, or how is that?
Yeah, there are definitely hot spots with some of the different universities doing some work on fundamental technology or fundamental material science. But then there's also a lot of those are happening in collaboration with another customer. So there's work being done on digital twinning, for example, in one region, on how do we create a digital twin to this device. That's really exciting for us in materials. You have other areas where they're doing a lot of research on liquid metals. So you'll see a lot of papers we do with universities on liquid metals and how they can help thermal management, but also create unique connections and systems that could maybe have a role in space and switches. So it is those partnerships with universities are really important, obviously for the technology, but then also for talent development. So we have an incredible internship program. We work with the universities all throughout New York State, which are some of the best universities in the world, and we've been really successful at attracting talent to Indium through those programs.
What's your vision now moving forward? What's your vision for the future of Indium?
Well, so Indium has brought so many great materials to the world, and it really is rooted in that material science changes the world. And what we want to do is we want to be working on the biggest problems that are out there, figuring out how do we create degrees of freedom for the designers by saying, here's a new way of thinking about the product, the materials that can go into your design, and then helping our assemblers have much more efficient, more sustainable assembly operations so that they can get the cost benefit of that. You know, sustainability back in the old days was just good engineering. Get rid of waste, make it more efficient, make it easier to assemble, take out the headaches, and that's exactly what we're doing. And so those two pieces really are going to enable us to keep growing. I think our fundamental business model of creating value, starting often with a niche, something new that's emergent, and then carrying that through to scale is still going to be our major reason why we're going to be really successful for it.
You know, a theme, it was the keynote on the first day and everywhere in the industry is AI, right? So how does that impact, or how does that help a company like Indium?
Yeah, so AI, you know, I talk about innovation in every department. We're really encouraging people to be users of AI. So whether it's in R&D or engineering, maybe vision inspection, but also pivoting into even how we think about order entry and processing, back office processes, or how we're doing obviously our own program development for our ERP system. All of that is incorporating AI as a user base. And then as we step out and look at it from a market opportunity for our products, it's huge. You know, these devices are very large, there's very large components, large BGAs that warp. You can come over to our booth and learn more about that. If you want, I'd love to show you some of the parts we bring in there.
That's excellent.
And then the materials that are needed, for example, we won an award for Durafuse HR, which is one of our high reliability products. Some of these devices need high reliability, you know, because it's really important to make sure that they can survive the mission profile that they're going to be put through.
And let's talk about that. Let's talk about some of the products now, some of the technical stuff. Was there anything new, anything introduced at the show, anything? What are the highlights currently?
So we're really proud of two products. I mentioned the Durafuse HR, which is built on our patented technology of mixed powders. So if you take two different powder alloys and mix them together, you can get the best of both worlds. And the key value there is high reliability joints combined with very low voiding and easy processing through the assembly line. Again, that idea of sustainability. How do we fill the mission profile with an easy to produce product? And then we also have our Core Wire 807 RS, which is another award-winning product. Very, very good for robotic soldering. Cord wire, it's funny, you know, you think about these old technologies, it's like wave solder, cord wire, they're still around. And they still play a really important role, even in some of the most advanced electronics, because of the productivity you can get out of them.
There was also the low temperature.
And that's key for sustainability. So again, built on our technology of these mixed powders, we're able to go to a 40°C reduction in peak temperature. When you can get to that point, you're saving 10 to 15% of your energy consumption. And then the really big deal is, again, with these large, we talked about AI, these large BGAs have warpage. If you can reduce the peak temperature, reduce that warpage, you have a better chance of assembling. And then, of course, it has to have the reliability that's as good or better than SAC 305, which is kind of the industry standard. And we get that too. And again, it's something we love talking about at Indium. So,
no, and I've spoken to people before about that, so I knew the low temperature one.
Yeah, absolutely.
You mentioned the awards; those were the Service Excellence Awards, right? That you won recently. I think a week or two ago were announced in two categories.
Yeah, exactly.
So congratulations on that, because that's, as we were saying before, I think that's a great awards program in the industry. You know, I think it's one of the better ones, and congratulations on that. And it's not your first time winning either.
No, we're really proud of those awards. You know, they especially as they reflect the hard work that went in from our tech service and R&D teams, the ability to scale a product. So it's really fun to reward all the people who contributed to the success of these products.
Yeah, no, it is a team. You're right.
Yeah,
It's not just
absolutely.
one. So, well, Ross, thank you. I will take you up and come over to your booth and look at some of this live. Because
Great, Eric.
not that I'll understand it all, but it's nice to put a face to words sometimes,
Yeah,
right?
Well, I'm a little chemistry teacher, so we'll take
Oh,
some
are
time
you really?
on
Oh,
it.
good.
So
Oh, good. Okay. Ross, I appreciate your time. Let's do it
so
again
much.
sometime.
That was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Good.